Chaos broke out on Skinwalker Ranch. Travis Taylor got rushed to the hospital after a scary, strange collapse that shook up the whole team. Sensors went crazy. The ground shook, and a super bright flash shot through the east field before all the cameras turned off. Tonight, we find out what really went down and why this changes everything. Subscribe, because what's coming next is way more creepy. The night started with just a normal check across the east field. The kind of quiet walk that usually calmed the ranch before dark closed in around the mesa. The screens inside the command trailer showed normal, steady numbers, and the team worked with their usual smooth routine. But under that calm, something else was hiding. A weird feeling the valley had been holding all day. A pressure nobody could explain, but every machine seemed scared of it. As the last light left the sky, the air got thick and sharp, almost like metal, as if the land itself was telling them to stop. Travis Taylor went outside to check a strange EM spike coming up from the bottom of the mesa. It went up in a perfect, steady way, beating like a heartbeat, getting stronger each time. The team watched him on the outside cameras as he followed the readings farther into the field, his shape moving through the cold. A low shake started spreading through the dirt, making the tripods rattle and the dry grass wave. Travis stopped, lifting his meter toward a shimmer floating just past the ridge. An outline that bent the air like heat over a hot stove. Inside the trailer, Eric Bard yelled that the signal was speeding up, moving across all kinds of waves in patterns the ranch had never seen before. The lights blinked, the screens got full of static, and a loud crack came through the radio. Travis's shape glitched once, then again before the picture froze completely. For a few seconds, the cameras tried to fix themselves, fighting to see him through a blurry mess. When the picture came back, the field was empty. Travis was gone, like the night just ate him. The team went through the messed-up video, trying to save any pieces that survived the blackout. Most files were broken, smashed by static, twisted by a weird blur in every bit. But one short clip stayed good long enough to show the last moments before Travis disappeared. The clip started with the east field covered in full moonlight. The grass shook like something invisible was moving it. Travis walked toward a wavy distortion hanging a few feet off the ground, its edges rippling in tight circles. The air around it bent hard, folding the far line into a twisted picture that beat in perfect timing. Thermal cameras showed the strange thing in dark blue and black, way colder than anything normal on the ranch. Each beat spread out slow and careful, like a heartbeat moving through the ground. Travis lifted his tool toward it, and for a second the distortion grew bigger, opening like a clear bubble before snapping back into a tight ball super fast. The sound on the video broke into metal screams, the kind you hear when the world gets pulled over something sharp. Eric Bard stopped the video right when the strange thing flared up. A single bright flash exploded, strong, quiet, not normal, turning into a web of shapes that flashed on the screen for less than a blink. The shape looked like a dome folding in on itself, closing fast like a hunter. Travis stumbled, his shape breaking into shaky pieces as the distortion swallowed the space around him. Then the video died completely. The screen went white, then black, then filled with weird symbols crawling across like a live code. When the picture came back, Travis was not there anymore. Instead, something else stayed behind. A leftover shape, like a tall curve of light, hanging above the ground, humming with a tiny bit of movement. And as the team stared in shock, the curve blinked once, like something inside it was trying to come through. The second the feed died, the crew ran out into the night, their boots pounding on the frozen dirt as the last bits of the flash faded into the dark. The east field was too quiet, like the whole valley stopped breathing. Then they saw him. Travis Taylor lying face down in the dirt, his body jerking in hard, wild shakes. The ground under him shook in steady beats. Each shake matched the leftover EM spikes screaming on their handheld meters. Whatever he ran into didn't just hit him. It went right through him. Eric Bard dropped to his knees first, yelling for help as he grabbed Travis by the shoulders. The second he touched him, Eric pulled back fast. Travis's skin felt ice cold, colder than the night, cold enough to hurt. His eyes were half open, pupils huge, moving around, seeming like he saw things nobody else could. With every shake, his arms and legs scraped the dirt, leaving little lines, like something pulled him from all sides. Radiation alarms on their belts started beeping loud, warning everyone. The levels jumped way past safe, climbing higher every second. The crew dragged Travis back, trying hard to get him away from the center. But the ground shook under them, moving like tight muscle. A deep hum grew through the field, mechanical and alive, shaking their bones more than the air. Travis's chest locked up, and a weak wheeze came out of his mouth, hard to hear over the growing sound. Then for a second he went still. Every shake, every spike, every alarm stopped. His mouth opened a little, like he was pulling breath from far away, from somewhere hidden. The crew leaned in, waiting for any sign he knew them, any small word. What came out was a quiet, broken whisper. Just 2 words, cut by pain, forced through tight teeth. It reached his body, jerked again, harder than before, so strong the team could barely hold him. And as the hum came back through the ground, louder, "Iptd. Epper, more hungry." It was clear whatever touched Travis was not done with him yet. By the time the ambulance doors closed, Travis's shaking turned into a scary total stillness that even freaked out the paramedics. His heartbeat jumped in weird bursts, fast 1 second and dropping the next, like his body tried to follow 2 different beats. At the hospital, doctors moved fast around him, cutting his shirt to check his signs, then froze when they saw the marks. Thin, matching patterns showed up on his chest and back, glowing softly under the skin, like dying coals in the dark. The shapes weren't burns. They were too perfect, too planned, set in a pattern no normal hurt could make. As the doctors worked, the machines next to his bed started jumping, their numbers spiking in sharp, weird ways. The heart monitor went up in perfect groups. 3 beats, pause, 3 beats, copying the same beat the ranch caught right before Travis fell. Every machine in the room reacted together. Screens blinked. Alarms made messy noises. The nurses looked at each other, talking quiet about interference. But nothing explained why only the stuff around Travis acted up. Hours went by, but he stayed in a half-awake fog, breathing light, muscles twitching under the covers. When nurses tried to take pictures of the marks, the photos came back blurry, streaked with light that bent across them. One worker said she saw the patterns moving, changing like living wires under his skin. Then, just after the sun came up, his body lifted hard off the bed, eyes flying open as every monitor flatlined for 1 loud second. His lips shaking like something pushed words through him. And when the sound finally came, it wasn't a scream of pain. It was the same low, beating hum coming from deep under the mesa. Back at the ranch, Brandon Fugel called for a full lockdown, closing off the east field before morning light hit the mesa. The crew moved fast and nervous, their faces pale and tired from the night's mess. Every tool touched by the strange thing got locked in the command trailer. Cameras with melted plugs, spectrometers stuck in the middle of readings, and hard drives full of broken data like sick body parts. Eric Bard separated the gear linked to the EM spike, only to see circuits twisted into spirals, like something invisible folded them from the inside. Nothing acted like normal machines anymore. It acted like leftovers from something nobody wanted to name. As Eric followed the power surge back, he found something even weirder. Some devices turned themselves on during the blackout. Recording video nobody started, catching angles the cameras weren't aimed at. Frames showed shapes hanging in the dark, curved lines of light, floating balls, and thin figures standing still against the mesa's edge. Each one showed for less than a second before turning to static. But the pictures stayed in their heads like burns. A security guard walking the north fence said he saw an orange glow rise above the mesa just minutes after Travis left. The light hung there, not moving, growing and shrinking in slow beats, throwing weird shadows across the rocks. When he tried to radio the team, his words turned into sharp metal screams that made him step back in fear. He later said the sound felt less like bad signal and more like something trying to talk through the noise. Inside the trailer, the lights went dim without reason. Every screen turned off, then lit up at the same time, filling the room with cold, fake light. Words appeared on the screens, rough and shaky, like written by a scared hand. Return the tone. And right then, the crew knew the ranch wasn't just answering their tests, it was ordering them. The more Eric looked at the readings from the night before, the harder it was to ignore one big truth. The tone they sent out wasn't just another test sweep, it was the start button. Earlier that afternoon, way before the collapse, Travis and Eric set up new frequencies, ones made to go deeper into bands the ranch always blocked. The generator came alive with a sound that shook the dirt, humming in layers that made the air shake like hit glass. Travis said it felt too perfect, too exact, like the tone matched something already waiting under the mesa. As the generator got to its highest point, several sensors jumped at the exact same time. Tools that usually worked alone suddenly copied each other, beating in a rhythm like breathing. Eric stopped the test for a second, bothered by how the frequencies seemed to answer back instead of just going out. But Travis wanted to keep going. The pattern matched an old strange thing they never figured out. What they didn't know was, they copied a sound recorded only once before, hidden in an old Ute story about the voice that wakes the sky. Hours later, after the collapse, Eric played the generator logs again and saw the tone never stopped. Even after they cut power, even after everything went dark, the wave kept going from a place they couldn't find. It wasn't coming from their machines anymore. It came from the ground itself. The dirt across the east field shook in tiny waves, humming with the same sound they thought they turned off. The earth learned the tone, took it in, and started playing it back with a smartness that broke every sound rule. Even scarier was the hidden pattern inside it. Under the main hum were extra layers, quiet, exact, almost like math, building shapes that looked like secret messages. Eric cleaned them, slowed them, flipped them, but one awful idea got clearer each time. The tone wasn't sending out. It was answering. And the more he studied it, the more it changed, fixing itself live to match every change he made. Like something under the mesa listened hard and copied his voice back. By sunrise, the ranch changed from a quiet research spot to a locked-down area full of serious quiet. Without warning, a line of black cars with no marks drove through the gate, engines growling low. Men in dark jackets got out in perfect order, carrying cases with secret codes and radiation signs. No hellos, no reasons. Just a hard order to Brandon Fugel. All tests stop right now. Their being there wasn't a choice. It was a takeover. Inside the command trailer, the air got tight as the new people checked the broken gear one piece at a time. They talked in short tech words, mentioning secret names the ranch team never heard. One expert looked at the melted parts of the tone generator and said the twist pattern didn't match any normal damage. Another checked the broken hard drives and frowned at data that seemed to fix itself even with no power. Twice, they asked Eric how the devices kept recording without batteries. Twice, he had nothing to say. The unmarked team went to the outside sensors next, looking at the moment Travis fell. They played the last frame over and over, the tall curve of light hanging above the dirt, moving inside in a way too complicated to be a mistake. One agent asked for the raw heat files, and when he saw the shape of the strange thing, its even beat, its cold, careful build, he took a slow breath and whispered to his partner, "We've seen this formation before." He wouldn't say more. Outside, near the fence, another pair checked the spot where Travis fell. They waved small detectors over the dirt, watching the needles jump in sharp, weird ways. One asked how long Travis stayed close to the strange thing. When Brandon said 30 to 40 seconds, the man got stiff. "That much time isn't survivable," he said quietly, not knowing his words reached the team still in the trailer. But their questions changed from science to something sharper. They wanted act times, angles, body readings, anything showing the exact second the light covered Travis. They wanted to know what he said, what he touched, what he might have brought back without knowing. And when they heard the matching marks on his chest still beat in the hospital, their faces went from strict work to something colder, like they recognized it. One agent took Brandon aside, dropping his voice to a quiet warning. "Nothing on this ranch happens by chance. Whatever he ran into didn't just hit him, it talked with him." He stopped, staring at the mesa like it stared back. Then came the question that stopped Brandon cold. How long was he exposed to the entity? For almost 12 hours, Travis floated in a half-world, not awake, but not fully gone, breathing light, muscles twitching in short jerks. Doctors watched him with mixed worry and confusion, seeing how every machine near his bed acted like caught in a hidden force field. Heart monitors beat in perfect groups of 3. IV machines jumped in matching time. Even the room lights blinked in the same rhythm still heard across the ranch. It felt like whatever hit Travis followed him to the hospital, hiding in the air around him. At 3:14 p.m., his fingers shook. A nurse ran over just as his eyes opened a little, showing huge black pupils. He didn't look at the room. He looked through it, past it, staring at something far and not real. A cold feeling hit the staff as he whispered broken words, choppy and hard, each sound forced out like pushed through him instead of said by him. Light under stone coordinates below. His heartbeat jumped into wild bursts, and the matching marks on his chest glowed softly under the skin, beating exactly with the machines. The doctor got close, trying to calm him, but Travis gasped hard like pulled back from a cliff, only he saw. His body lifted, and his voice fell to a shaky whisper. It followed more. The room got freezing cold, frosting the heart monitor edges. One nurse stepped away, saying she heard a low hum shake through the floor, climbing her legs like far machines waking under the building. Then, without warning, Travis woke up all the way, eyes stuck on the ceiling, wide and scared, like he saw something right above him. breathing hard and rough. He grabbed the doctor's sleeve with sudden strength. "Is the tone still playing?" he asked. Before the doctor could answer, every machine in the room lit up bright white as a deep beating shake tore through the walls. And for the first time since it happened, Travis started to cry. At the ranch, things should have gone quiet with Travis gone. But instead, the land acted like a hurt animal, restless and awake. Hours after the ambulance drove away on the dirt road, the sensors across the east field turned on by themselves. Their screens lit up without orders, sending the same 3-beat pulse that haunted every test as before Travis fell. The numbers didn't weaken or drift. They got stronger, clearer, more on purpose, until the whole data screen in the command trailer beat together like a heartbeat deep under the mesa. Eric Bard walked between screens, following the signals as they moved along the ridge. Their starting point made no sense. Buried inside hard rock. The ground outside shook in light waves that rattled tripods and dropped dust from the trailer roof. Even the animals felt the change. Cattle wouldn't eat near the fence, instead standing in tight groups with heads pointed at the mesa, making low, worried sounds that carried across the valley. People living nearby started calling the ranch right away. Some said quiet glowing balls floated above the canyon, moving easy against the wind. Others talked about a deep machine hum shaking their houses, so strong it rattled plates and cabinets and made windows buzz. One family said their outside lights blinked in the same 3-beat way before going off completely. Whatever hit the ranch was moving out, spreading across the area like a rock dropped in dark water. Back at the hospital, Travis lay in a quiet recovery room, pale and still. Doctors let him stay for watching, unable to find any medical reason for the matching marks that kept beating under his skin. When Brandon and Eric finally came into his room, he looked at them with empty eyes, like parts of him were still stuck in the dirt where he fell. He whispered that the light didn't stop after he fell. It followed him, sticking to the sides of his sight like a shadow, waiting to step closer. During the papers to leave, the nurse, checking his signs, paused. The radiation monitor on her belt started beeping soft, then louder, its needle climbing to the danger side. She checked it, thinking it broke, but the numbers only went higher the closer she got to Travis. When he breathed out, the monitor jumped hard. Then Travis looked at Brandon with a far, shaking, clear look and whispered, "It's coming back." And miles away on the ranch he just left, the sensors started beating in perfect time. 3 beats. Pause.